Dads. They are supposed to be a guiding light in your life, someone you can always rely on to be by your side. In an ideal world, that is. The world of One Piece is far from ideal. We got a lot of questionable father figures in this series. Everything from leaving their kids all alone to literally putting them in prison cells. This led me to wonder, are there any actual good dads in One Piece? And who is truly the worst father of them all? Let's judge some fictional characters, shall we? Let's start with the most famous case, the sniper of the red-haired pirates, Yasopp himself. This guy is the poster boy for bad fathers in One Piece. The pirate flag was calling to him, so he just had to leave his sick wife and baby son to find some booty. The crazy part is that he was only 2 to 3 islands away, partying with Luffy, saying I miss my son and stuff. Bro, you could have just gone home and visited him a bunch of times. The red-haired pirate stayed in Windmill Village for a year. I mean, does he even know that his wife died? How would he? Usopp's lying skills is basically a coping mechanism he developed to reassure his dying mother by giving her hope. This is dark. And he still isn't ready to meet his son after all these years. Grow a spine, dog. He's a horrible dad, but not really abusive. He lands in the deadbeat tier. Next, we got one of the most interesting cases, Don Quixote Homing, who of course is the dad of Luffy and Corazon. I just feel so bad for this guy. He had a pure heart, but he wasn't that bright, was he? He decided to leave the Holy Land because he wanted to be human, which sounds noble until you realized he dragged 2 kids, one of which was already fully brainwashed as a world noble, into a world that, shocker, absolutely hates celestial dragons. And yeah, those people went medieval on their asses. His kids got severely traumatized, and he certainly aided in the creation of the monster known as Doflamingo. I think questionable would describe him the best. Oh, look at his lovely father hugging his kids. Surely he's a great dad, right? Vince McJudge might genuinely be the worst parent in the history of everything. I wanna punch him right now. He literally made his children sociopaths on purpose. And then when Sonny turned out normal, he throws a tantrum and directs all the anger on the poor little soon-to-be pervert cook, instead of his own scientific failure. Like it's your fault that this stupid experiment failed. He then fakes the death of Sonny and locks him up with a massive iron mask attached to his face. So very wholesome. He's always going on and on about how you don't need emotions, the weak are useless, blah blah. Then he starts crying as soon as it goes south for himself, while his psychopathic children that he created just laugh at him. Horrible father, molded by Vegapunk as a scientist, this guy is an abusive demon. Finally, we have some actual good parenting to restore your faith in fictional dads, Kyros. This man is an underrated goat. He starts out as a gladiator with a dark past, but as soon as he becomes a father to Rebecca, he's all in. Then one day, Sugar comes along and turns him into a one-legged tin soldier, which is already a nightmare. But as you all know, because of the hobby fruit, his own daughter forgets he ever existed. It's the ultimate test for a parent, and he passed it. He stays by her side as a toy for 10 years. Imagine being right there, protecting your kid from every threat, but you can't even tell her you're her dad. She'd just look at you in complete confusion, because you're a piece of plastic. When he finally turns back into a human and gets to hold her again, man, if you didn't get emotional, you're probably one of Judge's successful experiments. Or you watched the anime and was tired of Rebecca at that point. I don't blame you. Anyway, he lands in Great Dad for sure. Then we have the man, the myth, the baby boy, Senor Pink. This guy met a woman named Russian and decided the best foundation for a marriage was a massive lie. She hated pirates, so he just said, "Oh me, I'm just a boring banker," while he was out committing international terrorism for Doflamingo. The tragedy hits hard when their son passes away, while Pink is out banking. Russian finds out the truth, runs away, trips, and ends up as a vegetable in the hospital. You know the rest. He started dressing as a baby since that was the only thing that made his wife smile. My theory, she tried to run away with with all her might, but all she could muster was moving her lips slightly upward. He's a liar, and his double life invented disaster. I guess you could say he actually went back and stayed by her side, unlike someone, but the only thing he did was lie, and he seemed to be very absent as well, going away for weeks at a time. He even missed when their son passed away. So even though a lot of people love him, I gotta say he's a deadbeat dad. Next up is the man who outshines everyone so far, Edward Newgate. He didn't even have biological kids, but he basically spent his entire life collecting orphans like they were Pokemon cards. Most pirates sail the seas for gold, fame, or the One Piece. Whitebeard just wanted a family. He built a pirate empire where the only requirement for entry was calling him Pops. When Mr. Low IQ Squad stabbed him through the chest because he was manipulated by a Kainu like the absolute village fool he is, Whitebeard just gave him a hug and basically said, "I still love you, you complete idiot." He started a world war just to save one son. You could argue it was irresponsible to risk the lives of all his other sons to save Ace. Maybe some playing favorites going on, but who doesn't have favorites? If you're looking for the blueprint of a father figure, this is it. He's right next to Kyros on top. I feel like almost every One Piece character has one superfan at least. I mean, even Stelly has one, which makes me concerned for the well-being of this community. King Cobra, however, might be the only character that doesn't have one. Name a more bang average character. He's a pretty good dad though. Great faith in Vivi, and also got really paranoid over her safety. He might be the only normal dad in the show. First one to land in approved. Monkey D. Dragon is a tricky one, because just like Yasopp, he's been absent for Luffy's entire life, but he had way better reasons. While Yasopp forsake his family for booty and rum, Dragon is running a highly sophisticated revolutionary group, which has turned him into the so-called worst criminal in the world. Because we all know fighting a corrupt government is much worse than experimenting on children or enslaving whole groups of people. Anyway, since he would obviously put Luffy in grave danger as well if he kept him close. The government is all about purging entire bloodlines, as we found out in Marineford. And he seems to have some care for Luffy, as he's constantly looking east. And of course saved him from Bumley Bum Smoker in Logtown. He basically forced Garp to be the actual father figure for Luffy, which had varying results. At the end of the day, he ain't a great dad, but he's got far better reasons than the other deadbeats. So I think he lands in questionable. We're back to the pits of hell with Kaido. His child Yamato idolized Kaido's mortal enemy Oden from a very young age. It makes sense that Kaido got angry, but this man's idea of a suitable punishment was locking a hungry 8-year-old Yamato in a dark cave with 3 samurai who had every reason to hate and kill a member of the Beast Pirates. It's your child, bro, not a prisoner of war. What's with these guys and throwing their kids in prison cells the first chance they get? Then he went full Celestial Dragon mode and gave Yamato explosive handcuffs if they ever tried to leave Wano. The dumbest and most delusional part is that he wanted Yamato to respect him and eventually become the Shogun. Maybe stop treating him like human garbage then, you numbskull. Kaido literally created his own biggest hater. Yamato doesn't even call him father anymore, just Kaido. When your kid refers to you by your government name while trying to cave your skull in with a club, I think you've failed as a parent. I hope you're gonna have a good time in Abusive Demon next to your buddy Judge. We've mentioned some good fathers, but no one compares to Kuma. He wasn't even Bonnie's real dad. Her mom Ginny died and Kuma just stepped up like, guess I'm a father now, and meant every word of it. Bonnie gets this incurable disease, and what does this man do? He leaves the Revolutionary Army to watch over her. He becomes a pirate to find a cure, and when the government gives him a deal, we can help you, but you're gonna have to become a mindless government slave forever. He doesn't even hesitate. He said deal before Vegapunk finished the sentence, and then the part that made me pop the hardest. When Saturn was about to kill Bonnie, Kumas shut down Robot Corpse, literally got up and ran across the ocean to punch him. Best dad in One Piece. Arguably the best dad in all fiction. I made a new tier just for him. Get in there. So who's the worst one then? I have to say Judge. He's just horrible, despicable, shockingly evil and cruel. Yo, that's a bar. Who's your pick? Let me know in the comments. And by the way, I'll bet 1 billion berry that you're gonna love this video.